Jay really likes this music.
I do. Grooving.
Grooving to the music. Well, welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me here is Jay Huseman. And we like that music to kind of get us off to a good start as we're ready now for our COTA preview for the NASCAR O'Reilly Series. So, Jay, what do you have on the entry list?
Well, I was just thinking, I know throughout last year I listened to Larry McReynolds and he was taking Spanish lessons. Sharon and I just went through a little bit of that. We're going to talk about the entry list, and there is 40 drivers and teams on this entry list for the Focused Health 250 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at the Circuit of Americas. Now, that does mean 2 cars will miss the race. We love the excitement of it, but that also brings a little bit of disappointment for a couple of drivers. To hit some notables, we got the 0 is going to be Alex Labbe. The number 1 is Connor Zilich. We talked about him having some spot starts throughout the year. And then the number 5, Tyler Gonzalez. Shane Van Gisbergen might be your pick to win in the number 9 for Junior Motorsports. The number 19 will be Brent Cruz. He can run on the road courses. And here's where I was taking my lessons. The number 30 will be Blasazar Leguizamon in the number 30. And I will work on that one. The number 32, that is Ross Chastain. The number 35, Austin J. Hill. Don't confuse that with Austin Hill from RCR. That is Austin J. Hill. J.J. Yaley's in the number 42. The number 50, a road course racing driver, is Preston Pardis. The number 55 as well in Sage Karam. And then the number 91, running a full season with at least 2, if not 3 teams, Carson Cavapel. It's a partnership with Junior Motorsports, DGM Racing, I believe. But this is one of his starts for that team in the number 91. That's what I got for the entry list, and I don't want to hear a grade on my Spanish. I'll work on that.
No, I thought you did all right based on what we were learning there about that name. I'm wondering, we'll have to listen to what the broadcasters say.
Right. Yeah, I'm certainly going to tune in and try and hear that name a couple times before our next show.
Okay, well, for this weekend, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be racing the Focused Health 250 at Circuit of the Americas, otherwise known as COTA. The race length is a 2.5-mile asphalt road course. They'll be racing Saturday on February the 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on their home network, the CW, starting at 3 p.m., and the radio coverage will be on PRN and SiriusXM NASCAR Channel 90. Now, the race distance will be 156 miles over 65 laps. Stage 1 and 2 are 20 laps each, with stage 1 ending on lap 20, stage 2 on lap 40, and then the final stage will be 25 laps ending on lap 65. Now, where are you going to watch this weekend? Well, the O'Reilly Auto Parts will have their Kennemental Pole qualifying on the CW app on Friday, February the 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Saturday, again, their race starts, the Focus Health 250 at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the CW network.
Well, and we are on race number 3, and it is so important to start the season strong. So when we look at the season opening performances of a couple drivers, Jesse Love and Rajah Caruth, the only drivers who finished in the top 10 in both races so far this season. You got Sheldon Creed, who got the victory, finished first, Rajah Caruth in 8th, and Patrick Starpoli in 13th, earned their career best finishes with top 10 finishes at Atlanta. You also had Parker Retzlaff scored more stage points in these first 2 races of 2026, total of 16, than he did in all of 2025, which is 12. So he's starting out really strong. The other side of it, though, 2 full-time drivers who failed to finish both races to start the season, Harrison Burton and Josh Williams. And we'll talk about that when we talk about points already. That's a hole to dig out of. We'll have to see how they do.
Yes, indeed. Now let's on the good side of that, let's talk about the drivers that do have those good starts so far this season. Austin Hill in the 21, a first at Daytona, a 12th at Atlanta. He's in the number one spot right now, points wise, with an average finish at 6.5, the best average finish of the group. Sheldon Creed in the 00 for our Haas factory team had a 24th at Daytona, but a first at Atlanta. That puts him in third place with a 12.5 average finish. Jesse Love in the number 2, a 9th at Daytona, a 5th at Atlanta, puts him in fourth place with that 7.0 average finish. That appears to be the second best. Raja Karuth in the 88, a 10th at Daytona, 8th at Atlanta, gives him a second place spot in the point standings with a 9.0 average finish. That means he probably had some stage wins to push him up into that second place spot. Parker Retzlaff in the number 99 at a 14th place at Daytona, but a second place at Atlanta for his fifth place spot in the points and an 8.0 average finish. So some really good starts there for those 5 drivers. It'll be interesting to see how that continues to play out as we get to some different types of tracks on the circuit.
And I mentioned it in the truck series, but we see this variety again. Talking about the chase format now this year, the consistency, the wins help. You got Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed who have a victory and a 12th and a 24th place, but they're first and third. So the wins still help. It doesn't lock you and guarantee you like it did last year, but it obviously helps as they get extra 15 points for that win. Jesse Love, most consistent, steady, if you will, 9th and 5th. But Raja Karuth, we talked about the stage points. He is second in points, even though he's got a 10th and an 8th place finish. So running good throughout the race, getting stage points obviously helps. So it's going to be an interesting year. I can't wait to see how this plays out. Sharon mentioned 2 drivers finishing both in the top 10. Jesse Love, 9th and 5th, and then Raja Karuth at 10th and 8th. So their average finishes come out to 7 and 9, respectively. Obviously, you want to be consistent, but wins don't hurt.
No, they don't. Okay, now these are the drivers that have had a rough start to their season. Harrison Burton in the number 24, a 29th at Daytona, 35th at Atlanta, puts him 34th in the points. His average finish comes out at 32.0. Jeremy Clements in the number 51. We know that both of those drivers are certainly capable of higher finishes. He's got a 32nd at Daytona, a 29th at Atlanta, puts him 30th in the points with a 30.5 average finish. Then we go to Josh Williams from the number 92, a 34th at Daytona, 27th at Atlanta, 32nd in the point standings. Same average finish as Jeremy Clements at 30.5. Kyle Segan, the number 28, a 15th at Daytona, but a 38th at Atlanta, puts him 29th on the point standings with a 26.5 average finish. And William Sawalich, that's one of your guys, Jay, number 18. He had a 26th at Daytona, a 23rd at Atlanta. He's 21st in the points, though, a little bit better than these other guys, with a 24.5 average finish. But those are some pretty rough starts for these guys, but we've got a whole lot more racing to go. I look for some of these guys to be moving up.
I certainly do, and I hate to see anybody have that kind of rough start with some rough finishes in the opening races, but you're right, William Sawalich, a Minnesota driver. What really bothers me is we saw him in his rookie year have a rough start, but really came on strong in the latter part of the season last year. So, yeah, I had a lot higher hopes again coming out the gate, and I still have hopes for him again. It's super speedway racing. We'll see as we get into the season. But the 3 drivers that failed to finish both races this season, Harrison Burton in there at 29th and 35th, accidents in both, as well as Mason Naggio, 38th and 26th. The first one at Daytona was an accident, an engine on the second one in Atlanta. And Josh Williams is the opposite. He had an engine problem with 34th at Daytona, and then the accident in Atlanta for 27th. Now, Maggio isn't on the list for COTA. So talking about trying to climb out of the hole, Harrison Burton, Josh Williams running full time for the season. They got their work cut out for them.
They certainly do. I feel for them. Okay, now team performance through 2 races. 10 different organizations have had at least one top 10 finish through the 2 races so far this year. Junior Motorsports Series record, 36 consecutive races with a top 5 finish came to an end at Atlanta. Their highest finisher was Raja Caruth, who ended up finishing in 8th. So that streak that we were watching for Junior Motorsports came to an end at Atlanta, which is kind of unfortunate. It was kind of fun watching that streak.
You know, and I didn't actually realize that when you talk about it, but yeah, with those organizations with top 10 finishes in the first 2 races of the season, Junior Motorsports, again, had 5. They had all 4 at Daytona, but then Raja Caruth with the best of 8th at Atlanta. Jordan Anderson also had 3. They had Anderson 4th and Perkins 8th at Daytona. Chastain was 6th at Atlanta. Then you got Richard Childress Racing. There you got Jesse Hill with 1st at Daytona. Jesse Love 9th, but then Love was 5th at Atlanta. Then you get into 2, a streak of 2, which technically isn't a streak, but Haas Factory, Joe Gibbs Racing. You had Creed 1st, Mayer 7th at Atlanta. And for Joe Gibbs Racing, Gray 9th and Jones 10th at Atlanta. I think we'll see Joe Gibbs pick that up. Just some teams that, again, are starting a streak, if you will. AM Racing had Sanchez 3rd at Atlanta. Hendrick Motorsports 4th with Day at Atlanta. RSS Racing was at Daytona with Ryan Sieg 3rd. And then Viking Motorsports, we mentioned Parker Retzlaff. He was 2nd at Atlanta. And Young Motorsports with Ellis 6th at Daytona. There's been a total of 10 different teams that finished in the top 10 in the first 2 races of the season. Much as I have favorites and like certain drivers and teams, I do like seeing that when we have that mixture. You know, the competition is that good that we see that mixture. So find the good in everything.
Absolutely. Now, the most stage points scored through these 2 races, Justin Allgaier at the top of that list with 30. Carson Cavapo not far behind at 29. Raja Caruth with 25. Austin Hill 24. Jesse Love 20. Then we go down to the teens here. Parker Retzlaff. I should mention that Austin Hill has 2 stage wins compared to 1 for Raja Caruth and 1 for Jesse Love. Then we go down to the teens where they don't have any stage wins, but they're racking up the points. Parker Retzlaff with 16, Sheldon Creed with 12, William Sawalich 11, and Sammy Smith with 9.
Well, and that's important because all the points matter, and we saw that as some of those on top of the chart may not have the finishes, but if they're running good, still collecting those points. So we'll keep an eye on that. Now, drivers mentioned to earn their best career finishes in these first 2 races. Obviously, at the top of that list, to give him a shout-out, Sheldon Creed, best finish of 1st. His prior had been 2nd 15 times, but picked up the win at Atlanta. Ryan Ellis in the 02 finished 6th at Daytona for his career best. Mentioned Raja Caruth, 8th at Atlanta, as well as then Dr. Patrick Starpoli in the number 48 was 13th at Atlanta. Some others, LeVar Scott, rookie, 16th at Daytona. Carson Ware, 19th at Daytona. Luke Fenhouse, 20th at Atlanta. Now, this one kind of surprises me, but I know he hasn't had a lot of experience in the O'Reilly Auto Parts. Gio Ruggiero, 24th at Atlanta. I don't have the numbers, but he's got limited starts, so I see that going up relatively quickly.
Okay, this is the 6th NASCAR O'Reilly Parts race at COTA since the track debuted in 2021. So they've been there for a while now.
The winner since that 2021 debut, Kyle Busch, likes to do the inaugural thing. He's one of those, does well first time out, picked up the victory in 21. Then it was A.J. Allmendinger, went back-to-back in 22 and 23. Kyle Larson came in 24, and last year we had Connor Zilic. Believe it or not, it was not SVG, it was Connor Zilic. On the pole side, let's see what we got here. Kyle Busch with the pole and the win in his year in 21. In 22, it was Ty Gibbs. Allmendinger did the sweep in 23 with the pole and the win, as did Kyle Larson in 24 and Connor Zilic in 25. So that's something to look at as far as a trend. Start up front, win.
You got to start up front, I guess, here. Okay, now the most COTA top 10s and laps led. On the left, we have the top 10s. Allmendinger and Sam Mayer with 4, Austin Hill and Cole Custer with 3. And for laps led, it's A.J. Allmendinger at the top of the list at 78. Next closest is Kyle Busch at 35. That's a big difference there. Connor Zilic at 26. Shane Van Gisbergen at 20. And then we drop down to 16 for both Sheldon Creed and Ross Chastain. Some drivers to keep your eye on this weekend.
Kind of surprised we don't see more Shane Van Gisbergen stats there. So that's interesting to see. That's apparently not one of his top road courses. And when we break down team performance, when we look at COTA, Hendrick Motorsports has a 1.67 average finish in the 3 starts at COTA and has never finished worse than second.
Wow,
so when we look at right. When we look at that average finish, Hendrick Motorsports 3 starts 1.67. Next best is Haas Factory Team at 7.5 in 2 starts, and Richard Childress Racing with 9 starts. Their average finish 10.78.
All right. Hendrick has never finished worse than second at COTA. We mentioned that just a few minutes ago. In 23, William Byron finished second. Kyle Larson first in 24. And again, William Byron last year finished in second place. The pit stop strategy, winning pit strategy. Kyle Busch was the winner in 21. Pit stop laps 12 and 28. Okay. And then A.J. Allmendinger in 22 and 23. In 22, it was 16 and 27. And in 23, 15 and 28. Then we go to 3 pit stop laps. Kyle Larson in 24, 11, 28, and 44. And then Connor Zilic just last year, it was 18, 22, and 38. So watch those pit stop strategy and laps. I think that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on this year as well.
And I find it interesting that it changed from the 2 pit stop strategy to the 3, but you got to have a super fast car for that to work.
And a very good pit crew.
That as well. Very true. Now, one change we want to look at from 24 to 25, they did make an adjustment to the track. In 2024, it was a 3.41 mile course, 20 turns and 50 laps for a distance of 170.5 miles. And that puts stage laps at 14 and then 16 laps for stage 2 and the final stage of 20. In 2025, the track was shortened. They took out what they call an inner loop. That's not the name for theirs. I can't think of what theirs is called, but cut off a little bit of a loop and keep the cars more in front of the fans. So it was a 2.4 mile, just over a mile cut. And that made it 17 turns, and they ran 65 laps, a distance of 156 miles. There again, changed the distance by about 15 miles. So stage 1 was 20 laps, stage 2, 20 laps, and then 25 in the final stage. So there were over 1,000 turns in 2024 versus 1,105 in 2025 at 105 more turns. The 2024 race also went into overtime. So we'll see what happens this year. They're on that same configuration, to my knowledge, of a 2.4 mile course.
Absolutely. Okay, we've talked about Sheldon Creed finally breaking through and getting that victory. He earned his first O'Reilly win at Atlanta last week. Atlanta was his first win in 138 starts. He had 15 runner-up finishes before that first win. That's the most by a driver before their first win in series history. So he snapped that this last week when I'm real happy for him to finally get that victory. It had been 1,630 days since his last Truck Series win at Darlington in September of 2021. So I'm sure Sheldon was a happy man this weekend.
Without a doubt. And we've been talking about this for a while, that most runner-up finishes without the win. His record, unfortunate record of 15 runner-up finishes, broke the streak at Atlanta. Looking at Dale Jarrett was second with 10, as well as Daniel Hemrick. Dale Jarrett got a win at Orange Speedway in 1986. And then Daniel Hemrick did it at Phoenix in 2021 to snap his streak and got him a championship.
At the same time. That was pretty cool. Okay, now Sheldon Creed's runner-ups by track. He had 3 at Martinsville. I think we discussed this before. 2 at Daytona, Watkins Glen, and Bristol, and 1 at Darlington, Phoenix, Talladega, Michigan, New Hampshire, and Sonoma. So that's the recap of those 15 second-place finishes.
And Atlanta wasn't on there, and it wasn't like super speedways were dominant either. I predicted the other night in our review show that it would come on a short track. I was wrong. Now we got to look at where the list is all time for runner-up finishes. As Sheldon Creed is off that list, it goes to Ryan Sieg. 402 starts. He's got 5 seconds. Brian Scott, not active, at 210 with 4. As well as Stacy Compton at 4 at 173 starts. Carson Cavapo, 44 starts and 4 runner-ups, but it is now Ryan Sieg that leads that category. And those are the same on the right side of 2 of them. Brian Scott, laps led without the win and second place finish. Brian Scott was 659. Davey Allison had 474 and had 2 second place finishes. Ryan Sieg on that list as well, 423 laps led and 2 runner-up finishes.
And Ryan Sieg now has the most runner-up finishes without a win with those 5 that he's currently at. Hopefully he won't go up to 15. We'll see what happens. All right. Next up, we've got road course racing in 26. This is the first of 4 road course races this season: COTA, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, and the Naval Base at Coronado. 4 road course races is the fewest in a season since the 2020 season. So that's kind of interesting because we had the most in the Truck Series and the fewest in the O'Reilly Series.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that they cut back. There's three fewer road courses this season. We talked about the 2025. We had Connor Zilich at COTA, which is on the schedule for this year. In 2025, it was Mexico City where Daniel Suarez got the win. We're going to have Watkins Glen in that spot this year. Last year at Chicago Street Course, there was Shane Van Gisbergen. We don't know yet. It'll be the first time at the Naval Base in Coronado. And then Sonoma was Connor Zilich, and Sonoma is on the schedule this year. And then Watkins Glen, Portland, and the Charlotte Roval were all Connor Zilich. Portland and Charlotte Roval not on the schedule. Watkins Glen just in a different place. When we look at the numbers, road courses in recent seasons, again, we were at a high. 2021 had 7, 22 had 6. The high was 2023 with 8. Then we went back to 6 and 24, 7 and 25, but now we're going down all the way down to 4, which again is that fewest since 2020.
Okay, now Connor Zilich is returning to the O'Reilly Auto Parts race this weekend. As a rookie, he had a record 10 wins last season. The series record is 18 consecutive top 5s. He's the youngest driver to win 4 straight races and the youngest driver to reach 11 career wins. Track record as youngest O'Reilly Auto Parts winner on 10 different tracks. He also won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series debut at Watkins Glen in September of 24. He's won 6 of the 8 road course races he's run in his career, including the last 4. He has a 75% win percentage on road courses, and that's the highest in series history. A 1.63 average finish on road courses is the best all time, and he has more wins, poles, and laps led than the rest of the field combined in 9 road course races since his series debut in 2024. Connor Zilisch has been simply phenomenal in his O'Reilly Auto Parts rookie season.
Well, there's the low-hanging fruit when we talk about our picks later. We'll see who gets that low fruit.
But SVG's in this race too.
Yeah, that's what I figure. Those are the two we're going to look at of absolutely almost on the ground fruit.
Yeah.
Let's breaking down his dominance, Connor Zilich's road course dominance since his 2024 debut at Watkins Glen. Again, span of 9 races. In that, wins go to Zilich at 6. The rest of the field 3. Sam Mayer, Daniel Suarez, and Shane Van Gisbergen, the other ones with victories. Poles, Zilich has 6 there as well. Again, the rest of the field only has 3, and they all came from Shane Van Gisbergen. Now, laps led, 336. The field, 312. 83 of those coming from Van Gisbergen. Stage wins, this is where he was a little bit lacking. He's got 5 wins, but he was competing against the rest of the field. 13 total for the field. When you look individually, his 5 go against Justin Allgaier's 2 and William Byron 2. So one-on-one, he wins, and he pretty much wins against the field as well.
Yes, he does. He's been really incredible. Okay, now the longest road course win streaks all time. It's hard to believe that Connor Zilisch, in his second year now as a rookie in 25 at Sonoma of July, he had 4. Wow. Terry Labonte comes in at 3. Well, Terry Labonte, AJ Allmendinger, and Shane Van Gisbergen all come in at 3. Watkins Glen for Terry Labonte, the Charlotte Roval for AJ Allmendinger, as it ended at Portland. And then Shane Van Gisbergen from Portland to the Chicago Street Race with his 3. That's pretty amazing.
And I would not have had Terry Labonte in that list, so that's interesting. I wouldn't have realized that his streak of 3 there ranked up there, but Shane Van Gisbergen and AJ Allmendinger we know as road course aces. And we're going to talk a little bit about Shane Van Gisbergen ruling the road, if he still does. 6 Cup Series road course wins. He won a Cup Series debut at the Chicago Street Race in July of 2023. And then he's got 4 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series road course wins. That's 10 combined amongst NASCAR's top 3 series, which is the most of all time among foreign-born drivers.
Let's look at Zilisch versus Van Gisbergen head-to-head. Connor Zilisch finished ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen in 6 of 7 O'Reilly Series races where they raced head-to-head. They've combined to win 4 of those races. Van Gisbergen's DNF at Watkins Glen was due to an accident after contact with Zilisch while battling for the lead. So Connor Zilisch seems to come out on top in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Well, and that was really interesting because that was after they announced he was going to the Cup Series and would be teammates with Van Gisbergen. So kind of interesting there. And they were teammates at Junior Motorsports.
Yeah.
When you look at that head-to-head, mentioned Watkins Glen, Zilisch was first, Van Gisbergen 5th. At Kansas, it was a 4th and 8th place finish. In Homestead, Miami, both of them not exactly stellar there, 12th and 17th. But then we go to Phoenix. Zilisch was back as 4th, and Van Gisbergen 12th. This is the one where he got beat. Connor Zilisch was 2nd at the Chicago Street Course that Van Gisbergen won. But flipped it at Sonoma, where he was first over Connor Zilisch in 2nd. And then that aforementioned Watkins Glen race where Van Gisbergen finished 31st with a DNF. Now, between the 2 of them, they combined to win 4 of the 7 races where they were head-to-head. That's impressive between the 2 of them. And yeah. I so look forward to their Cup Series battle now.
Me too. I'm super excited about it. All right, let's talk about Van Gisbergen's road course breakdown. At COTA, He has one start there without a win, 50 laps, and 20 of those were led, and percent of laps in the top 10 at 100%. Sonomi's got two starts with one win, 158 laps, 56 laps led, and a 94.3% in the top 10. At Portland, it was one start, one win, 75 laps, 12 of which he led, and a 93.3%. Charlotte Roval, one start, no wins, 72 laps with 7 led, and 87.5% in the top 10. Chicago Street Race, he's got two starts, 2 wins, 100 laps, 41 of which he led, and 87% in the top 10. And the final one is his worst track, Watkins Glen, where he's got 2 starts, no wins, out of 172 laps, he led 25, and 61% of the laps led in the top 10. And that's his low, 61%. A lot of guys would like to have that stat.
Right. And that, I think 2 things factor in there. We talked about that DNF, but also that one is more of a high speed where they talk about tracks like your street courses and Sonoma are more of a technical. So yes, we'll have to keep an eye on that see if he can improve on that Watkins Glen high speed race road course.
He just might.
So when we look at the Cup Series road ringers at COTA for the O'Reilly Auto Parts, Connor Zilic is now considered a Cup Series driver. Again, he's got the 6 career road course wins, 2nd all time. Shane Van Gisbergen in the number 9, 4 career wins, tied 5th all time. But also then Ross Chastain in the number 32. His first career Cup win came at COTA in 2022.
Okay, now Junior Motorsports, we talked about their dominance last year. Let's take a closer look at that. Connor Zilic and Shane Van Gisbergen combined to win 10 of the last 12 road course races. They also won the last 9 road course races with 4 different drivers. That's the longest streak of consecutive road course wins in series history. Now, they will enter 5 cars at COTA with Connor Zilic in the number 1, Justin Allgaier in the number 7, Sammy Smith in the number 8, Shane Van Gisbergen will be in the number 9, and Raja Caruth will be driving that number 88 this year. Carson Cavapo will run for DGM Racing's number 91 car, which will be prepared by Junior Motorsports. So you can consider that another Junior Motorsports car. So that's a total of 6 cars prepared by Junior Motorsports.
And that is an absolute stacked lineup when you look at them. Connor Zilic, 11 career O'Reilly wins. Justin Allgaier, 28. Sammy Smith has 3. Shane Van Gisbergen, 4. Raja Caruth just getting started. He's got 2 top 10s in the first 2 races of this season. And then mention the alliance there for Carson Cavapo in the 91 at DGM Racing will be prepared by Junior Motorsports. And again, we saw his progression last year as a rookie as well. Just kind of got overshadowed by his teammate.
All right. Now, the longest streaks of consecutive road course wins by a team. Well, the active team here is Junior Motorsports. We've talked about their dominance, and they've got a streak of 9 that started at Watkins Glen in September of 2024. Other ones on this list with 3 is the next closest. Labonte Motorsports, Team Penske, and Colleague Racing is on here twice with 2 different streaks.
And when we look at the streaks of consecutive wins on a single track by a team, that's Junior Motorsports, and they've done it twice. They got the top spot, that current streak of 9 on road courses. Joe Gibbs Racing had a streak of 6 on a 1.5 miles from February of 2016 to September of 16. And then Junior Motorsports, their other streak here at 5 was on 1.5 miles, and that was from May of 22 to October of 22. And that tells you the strength of the organization, not just one style of track either.
Exactly. Now, Junior Motorsports series record, top 5 streak ended at Atlanta. We talked about that. Junior Motorsports from Martinsville in November of 24 to Daytona this month that had a streak of 36. The next closest is 22 by Joe Gibbs Racing and Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. For Joe Gibbs Racing, it was from Sonoma in 24 to Atlanta in 25. And then Roush Fenway Keselowski Watkins Glen in August of 2008 to Darlington in May of 2009. So pretty interesting stats there. That's pretty dominant by Junior Motorsports. The series record is that 36 consecutive top 5 finishes that came to an end in Atlanta, with their highest finisher of Rajah Caruth, who had that 8th place finish that we talked about earlier. So pretty impressive for Junior Motorsports.
That certainly is indeed. And speaking of impressive, we got a driver we expect to be impressive making his series debut. Brent Cruz is 17 years old. He'll make his debut in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 19. He will be the first 17-year-old to race in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series since Brian Vickers in 2001. Now, on Saturday, he'll be 17 years, 10 months, and 29 days. Now, he will run Phoenix, but have to miss Las Vegas and Darlington, then start running full-time at Martinsville, and that's due to the track size. He is under the Toyota development program as a driver in their system. He's got 10 Craftsman Truck Series starts in 2025, his best finish of 2nd at the Charlotte Roval. When we look at the ARCA Menard Series in 2025, he had 4 wins and 9 starts. And going back through his history, the 2023 Trans Am TA2 champion at 15 years old, that's the youngest champion in series history. And he was also the 2024 World Series of Asphalt Super Late Model champion.
All right. I'm really looking forward to him racing this season. Okay, the rookie snapshot this year. We've got 4 rookies in the O'Reilly Series this year. Patrick Staropoli in that number 48, Dr. Patrick Staropoli, finished 18th at Daytona, but he had that 13th place finish at Atlanta. He's got the best average finish at 15.5. In the number 5 is Luke Fenhaus. He had the 23rd at Daytona, a 20th at Atlanta, and a 21.5 average finish. LeVar Scott in the number 45, a 16th at Daytona, a 28th at Atlanta for 22.0. And then we'll see what Brent Cruz does in that number 19 car with his debut at COTA. The most wins by a rookie, Connor Zilisch with 10. I think it's going to be hard to beat that. He did that just last season. The next driver was Christopher Bell with 7. He did that in 2018. Greg Biffle with 5, as well as Kyle Busch with 5 and Carl Edwards with 5. Greg Biffle in 2001, Kyle Busch in 2004, and Carl Edwards in 2005. So that 10 is a pretty high water mark.
It is, and that's why you call him a generational talent, and we'll see if anybody else. I'm with you. That's a high bar to even come close, and you look at some of the top names that are below him, so that's impressive.
It is indeed.
And just looking at wins by rookies in recent seasons, and recent as far as we went back as 2016, there were 4, 5 in 2017, 9 in 2018, and I wish I had the list, but I don't, who they were. 1 in 2019, that would be interesting too. 4 in 2020, 5 in 2021, only 2 in 22 and 23. In 2024, it was 4 with SVG 3 and Jesse Love 1. Connor Zilisch won in that year, but that was his first career start and wasn't a rookie until 2025. And then in 2025, it was 11 total, 10 of those by Connor Zilisch. Nick Sanchez, though, also got one to give the total of 11.
Now, full-time driver win status. The full-time drivers to win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, Justin Allgaier at the top of this list with his 28 wins. Then it's Austin Hill with 15. Sam Mayer drops down to 8. Brandon Jones with 7. Harrison Burton with 4. Jesse Love and Sammy Smith with 3. Jeb Burton and Jeremy Clements with 2. Taylor Gray and Sheldon Creed each will have 1.
Well, there you go. Sheldon Creed got on that list, and honestly, I see every one of them could certainly add to their totals. I think there's a couple you have to look at of, I would say Jesse Love being the most highlight as your champion, defending champion, to add to his, but we'll see. All right, full-time drivers, kind of a recap here, being that Sheldon Creed got his victory. Ryan Sieg is the next one on the list of looking for their first win. 402 starts. His best finish is second. Josh Williams is next at 251 starts. Best finish of 6th. Brennan Poole, 192 starts. He's got a best finish of 2nd. And Ryan Ellis, we mentioned, 166 starts. Best finish of 6th. Anthony Alfredo, he could have his breakout year. 153 starts. Best of 3rd. Josh Balicki at 129, best of 8th. Kyle Sieg is at 116 starts, best of 7th. Blaine Perkins, 110, best is 6th. Parker Retzlaff, we just saw, he got a 2nd place finish in 109 starts. Then you got some newcomers, and I'll let fans read through these, just give you the names. Carson Cavapel, Dean Thompson, William Sawalich, Rajah Caruth, Austin Green, Corey Day, Patrick Starpoli, and LeVar Scott. Again, relatively low numbers as they're just getting their careers started. But we already see Parker, Cavapel, Sawalich, and Austin Green do have 2nd place finishes.
Yes. And Corey Day with that 4th that just came at where? Atlanta? He got that 4th? Yep.
That's true. That's recent. So he's on the rise.
Okay, here's a take a look at some recent race trends. The driver starting first won 7 of the last 13 races dating back to last year. Joe Gibbs Racing, Richard Childress Racing, and Haas Factory Team have won 8 of the last 9 races, despite Junior Motorsports winning 17 races last year. 3 of the last 6 winners swept the stages, so that's kind of impressive too. And
you can see that chart there. We've had this up before, so just to give a couple of highlights, you mentioned the sweeps, and that was Eric Almirola in October of 25 at Las Vegas, and then Austin Hill at Talladega that same month in 2025. The other sweep was Austin Hill, but that one was at Daytona here in 2026.
And again, despite Junior Motorsports winning 17 races last year, they've only won 1 of the last 9 races. These are the drivers that have won in the teams that they come from, going back to all of last year, I guess. Let's see, we've got February, November, October, and September represented here for those last 9 races, I guess, as far as who the winners were. So Junior Motorsports, 2 wins came at the Charlotte Roval in October last year, and then I don't see the second one. I guess that goes into this year. Oh, they've only won 1 of the last 9 races. So the one race that they did win was that race on the Charlotte Oval with Connor Zilisch. Otherwise, it's been Joe Gibbs Racing, Richard Childress Racing, and 1 for Haas Factory Team just last week.
Well, I think with the road course here at COTA, we talked about the low-hanging fruit, Connor Zilisch and Shane Van Gisbergen with Junior Motorsports. I think they go back on that list.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I know we're early, but again, got to look at the chase standings after Atlanta. It's the point standings, but it will lead into the chase. We mentioned the top ones here, Austin Hill and Rajah Caruth and Sheldon Creed. Austin Hill is 22 to the good as far as overall points, 61 to the cut, which in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts will be 12th. Go down to 4th. We hadn't talked about that far down yet. Jesse Love, minus 24. He is your defending champion, and he's 37 to the cut line. Then you got Parker Retzlaff. Mentioned his good run. It leaves him at minus 30, but 31 to the good. Justin Allgaier, annual contender for the championship, again coming from Junior Motorsports, minus 35 overall, but 26 to the cut line. And then Carson Cavapo, and we mentioned he's running for more than one team, but it's still Junior Motorsports prepared car. He's at minus 40, 21 to the cut line. Where it gets interesting is 8th place, Corey Day for Hendrick Motorsports in that number 17, minus 54 overall, but only 7 to the good of the cut line. And Sammy Smith at minus 56, plus 5. Ryan Ellis, minus 58, plus 3. Taylor Gray in 11th, minus 60 overall, plus 1 to the cut line. 12th, we talked about Brennan Poole, minus 61, is part of the cut line. Patrick Starpoli is also on that cut line at minus 61. Based on best finish so far, Brennan Poole would have the edge. And then Josh Bilicki, Nick Sanchez, and Brandon Jones. And trust me, that's going to change a whole lot in the next race and then multiple races after that. But that's how important it is to start out strong like we talked about.
The longest active top 10 streaks, I think we've talked about this, Jesse Love at 3, Raja Caruth at 2. And the longest active streaks at the finish, Jesse Love has 16, Austin Hill 11, and Parker Retzlaff, it comes in at 10.
That's also important. You got to be running at the end. That's how you get those points, the finishing points.
You get those points. You got to be running to win it.
Now we're going to break down the manufacturers. Chevrolet's 2025 dominance continues so far into 2026. Again, 2 races in, Chevrolet does have 2 wins, 17 top 10s. They got 4 stage wins, 274 laps led, along with the 2 poles. That's going to leave a lot of zeros in some of these other categories for other manufacturers, but Toyota's next, because they do have 2 top 10s and 9 laps led. Ford lagging a little bit, only has 1 top 10 and zeros in all the other categories. But again, they are at a deficit when it comes to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series as far as a manufacturer. Now, Chevrolet won both races, all 4 stages, and led all but 9 laps in those first 2 races of the season. I think the road course, Junior Motorsports, and what their dominance, they're going to add to that this weekend.
They certainly will. All right, now additional awards and milestones. Raja Caruth won the fastest lap award at Daytona, while Jeb Burton won at Atlanta. Justin Allgaier's 28 career wins are 9th on the all-time wins list and 1 away from tying Matt Kenseth. Jeremy Clements will break Kenny Wallace's record for all-time series starts at the Naval Base Coronado in San Diego, California, in race number 18 this year.
And when we look at those 26 fastest laps awards, Sharon mentioned them, only got 2 so far, Raja Caruth and Jeb Burton. And then looking at the all-time starts, mentioned Jeremy Clements as well as Justin Allgaier working their way towards it. Kenny Wallace is at the top at 547. Jeff Green is in the middle there at 535. Jeremy Clements right now 3rd at 532. Jason Keller at 520. And then Jason Keller at 520. Justin Allgaier at 506. Mentioned Clements will tie Kenny Wallace at Pocono in race 17. Break the record at San Diego in race 18. If Justin Allgaier makes every start, he will finish the season at 537, and that would move him 3rd all time, assuming that Clements also makes all those starts. He would take over the top spot.
Okay, all-time wins. Well, Kyle Busch is at the top of that list with 102. I think we've covered these in other times. Joe Gibbs is at 221, Junior Motorsports 105, and Richard Childress Racing at 104. The next closest is Hendrick Motorsports, but they are going to kind of pick up on that number this season because they're running a full-time car this year.
That's right. And with the consecutive seasons with the win, we have a driver there, Justin Allgaier. Kyle Busch does lead that category with a streak of 9. Actually, they're all 9. That is the streak. Okay. Kyle Busch. Yeah, that is the streak. Kyle Busch did it from 2013 to 2021. Mark Martin did it from 1992 to 2000. Justin Allgaier is currently active on that from 2017 through 2025. If he wins this year, he will break that and become the one with the 10.
All right. Now, most laps led in the O'Reilly Series all time. Kyle Larson dominates here as well with 20,129 compared to Kevin Harvick at 9,706. Mark Martin at 8,137. Justin Allgaier is on this list, though, at 7,142, followed by Carl Edwards at 5,985. That is elite territory right there.
It is indeed. And speaking of elite, the best series win percentage all times, got to have at least 3 or more starts. The ones they have listed here, Connor Zilic is at the bottom of starts, 36, but 11 wins gives him a 31% winning percentage. Kyle Busch with his 102 wins in 367 starts is next at 28%. Sam Ard, who is considered one of the greats of all time, 22 wins and 92 starts gives him a 24%. Christopher Bell, another strong one, 19 wins and 81 starts. And Mark Martin, 49 wins and 236 starts, 21%. And Sharon mentioned organization-wise, all the ones that are above 100, Joe Gibbs Racing, 221. Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, 138. The two here, Junior Motorsports and Richard Childress at 105 and 104, just went over that mark. And again, expect to see that continue to build as they got some strong teams this year as well.
Yes, indeed. Now, the longest streak of top 10 finishes by a team all time, you've got Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing at the top of the list here from May of 2008 to July of 2010, Charlotte to Iowa. In Junior Motorsports has the other 3 categories. They've done it 3 different times at 64, 61, and 59. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. The one streak that they had going, well, this is top 10s. That one's still active, so they could surpass
themselves.
Yeah, surpass themselves here.
They take themselves off the list. Yeah. I think we've pretty much hit it. Recap real quick. All-time road course winners. AJ Allmendinger 11. Again, how impressive. Connor Zilic, though, already up to second with his 6 wins. You had Marcus Ambrose and Austin Cindric, though, with 5. Then you get into Kyle Busch, Ron Fellows, Ty Gibbs, Terry Labonte, Sam Mayer, and Shane Van Gisbergen with 4 each.
And then again, some of this is almost repeat. Connor Zilic has the best average finish on the right side here for road course finishes. And Terry Labonte comes in at 2, Ryan Blaney at 3. And then best road course win percentage, Connor Zilic is just incredible at 75%, 6 out of 8 starts. And then Terry Labonte and Kurt Busch are tied at 50%. Terry Labonte with 4 out of 8 and Kurt Busch with 2 out of 4. Shane Van Gisbergen at 44%, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. 4 wins out of 9 starts. Just amazing stats there.
We'll break it down here when we look at active drivers, though. Again, Connor Zilic could add to Mayer with 4, as well as Shane Van Gisbergen. Again, we look at those as the low-hanging fruit, but Justin Allgaier has 3 and Jeremy Clements 1. When you look at laps led, Connor Zilic, again, going to be the one to maybe add to his this weekend. AJ Allmendinger leads at 470. Austin Cindric at 339. Connor Zilic right on his heels with 336.
Okay, next up, we've got the most road course stage wins all time. Allmendinger at the top of the list on both of these with 15 stage wins. And then it's Justin Allgaier dropping down to 8. Chase Briscoe with 6. And with 5, you've got Austin Cindric, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Hemrick, and Connor Zilic. So Zilic, again, on a list, an elite list here. With top 5s, it's AJ Allmendinger at the top with 26, Justin Allgaier with 19, Austin Hill with 15, and Austin Cindric with 14. So you never know that those are things that could change this year.
And when we look at all-time top 10s, names are all pretty much the same. One new one here, though. Justin Allgaier with 39 leads the way. Adrian Allmendinger, 29. Cole Custer had 20. That's the new name. And then Austin Hill at 19. And I think he kind of gets overlooked as far as a road course racer with his dominance on super speedway. But when we look at longest top 10 streaks on the road courses, Connor Zilic on a streak of 7. Austin Green could extend his on a streak of 3. William Sawalich, Nick Sanchez, and Jeb Burton have 2 each.
And on poles, it's A.J. Allmendinger with 8, Connor Zilic with 6, and Sam Hornish Jr. and Shane Van Gisbergen with 5 each. Most road course starts all time, Jeremy Clements at the top of that list. Justin Allgaier, though, right behind him. Clements was 67, Allgaier was 66. Then it's Ryan Sieg at 58, Brendan Jones at 53, and Josh Bilicki at 42.
And in case you don't know which team they're with, when we look at the road course wins by a team all time, most of those have been with Junior Motorsports at 17. Some of the older ones, Team Penske, though, comes in second at 15. Then you drop down to Colleague Racing, and that's where A.J. Allmendinger comes in. They're at 12. Joe Gibbs Racing at 10.
Okay, and that, I think, pretty much does it for the Xfinity Series, Jay.
Yes, when we look at that, I know we talked about it, the low-hanging fruit. How about we do this? Take away Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilic. Who do you think might? Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, if it's not one of those two, which we both think it will be, who's the next one to be?
You're looking at Jesse Love, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, one of those guys.
Yeah, that's what with going through this of kind of discounting Austin Hill on the road courses, but he showed some pretty good stats. Again, I was just out of fun trying to take the top 2 out of it. I think it is those. We're going to watch that head-to-head battle between Junior Motorsports teammates Connor Zilic and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep. I had a head-to-head headline for the Truck Series last week with Corey Hyman and Kyle Busch. I think our head-to-head headline is going to be with the O'Reilly Series this week.
So, but again, that's why you've got to watch the race, because anything can happen. It is a road course, which they can get a little wild and squirrely, a little bit of a change from last year and some new teams and organizations. So I am excited for it.
Well, drop in the comment sections who your picks are for this weekend here in the O'Reilly Series.
There we go. Yeah. Tell us who we're overlooking when it comes to that. Or add into the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I want to see how that low-hanging fruit goes for picks. Okay, do watch for more coming soon here at Pamper Racing Radio. Jay and I are doing all the previews. Those will be out between Thursday and Friday. On Friday, we'll have the Fantasy Report with Taz for your NASCAR Cup Series fantasy picks. Earlier this week, we did the NASCAR Hot Topics. Earlier tonight, we had the Race Chat Live segment with another hot topic discussion. And then on Tuesday, we have an interview with Stephen Blakely with Blakely Sports Media. He talks about how he got started and what motivated him to go into motorsports announcing and all the things that he does as a motorsports announcer. So real interesting conversation there between Sal Segala and Stephen Blakely. You'll want to check that out. And then Jay and I will be back on the other side of the weekend with the next hot topic conversation.
And again, certainly think there could be some new and interesting one. Obviously, a hot topic will be, how did St. Petersburg go with the Truck Series for the first time? We'll talk about that as well as many other things. And again, as Sharon said, you want to have us discuss what you view as the hot topic, put it in the comments in one of these videos and we'll add it to our list come Monday.
There you go. I like it. And then, of course, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We do appreciate you taking the time to hear what we have to say. And we enjoy doing this, so we hope you enjoy listening. So with that, I think we'll call it a night here, Jay.
Are you going to play some music? Because I like a bob in my head, too. Have a good night.
Some music. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.